everyone, welcome to GeekSpeak. This is going to be our very first episode. So I know in our teaser we talked about how we were going to go over Shadow of the Earth Tree. We went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about that first. I'm your host, Roby Walker.
And I'm the co-host, Jonah Walker.
Yes, so I've seen Deadpool and Wolverine twice now. I saw it first with my wife. And then we had to find a way for you to go see it.
Yeah, I was already wanting to see it, no matter what, but yeah.
It's an absolutely brilliant movie. Everyone should go see it. It's so fun, especially in the times that we're in, because times are kind of down right now, sadly. But, oh my goodness, the entire theater was loving it. It was amazing.
It's really hard to talk about because we don't want to spoil anything.
Yes.
But the fourth wall breaks are the best fourth wall breaks I've ever seen.
Oh, they are. There's one in particular that makes me laugh out loud every time.
Yes, yeah.
And I think people who have seen it will know exactly which one it is.
Yeah. Another thing about the movie is, of course, there's going to be cameos, and everybody says there's always that one cameo that surprises everybody. I had no idea going in.
My jaw dropped the first time I saw it.
Yeah, I got so hyped.
And I think yours did too.
Oh yeah.
As soon as they showed up on screen, I had to look at you.
Oh yeah, and I was like, there's no way. There's no way. But there's a lot of humor against Disney in it.
Yeah, it's really funny. They
dog on
no
Disney.
holds barred. They really talk about how
Disney.
bad the MCU's been doing.
Yeah, which is awesome, I think.
Yeah, it's great.
That is
and
great.
I believe Kevin Feige actually came out and said they wanted that because that's what Deadpool does.
Yeah, yeah.
It makes fun of everything.
Yeah, I absolutely love that.
It was perfect. Now, the only problem I can really see is the plot jumps around.
Yeah, for an
everywhere.
for like an average moviegoer, there's a lot of jokes and a lot of moments in the movie that are just going to go right over their head. But for like this movie was made for the fans.
Oh man, yeah.
It was made for the fans. Like there's no doubt about it.
The movie wasn't so much Deadpool coming into the MCU. It was more so Deadpool being able to be the vessel that we can have that says goodbye to the Fox universe.
Yes.
I think is the perfect way to put it.
Yeah.
It's simply brilliant. But, I mean, the plot, I could get past that. It's a fun movie. It's a funny movie.
Yeah, there's action the action sequences in it are amazing. There's one near in the third act that is just brilliant. It's brilliant. It's I like I said, I don't want to go into spoilers or anything like that.
You know,
it's really hard to.
I saw somebody made a comment the other day about how poor the choreography in that movie is.
I know. I think that's so funny.
It's like, what do you want, John Wick?
Yeah. I mean that's
top
it's
tier
cheaper,
choreography.
but that is cheaper. It doesn't require a bigger budget or anything like that. But with how Disney has been, they're wanting they didn't want to take any risks.
And I know that there are some people I've seen upset with the end credits scene.
I'm not.
I'm totally fine with it because it doesn't lead into anything. It's just funny.
I think it does.
Really?
I'm going to have to talk to you about it off camera.
Okay.
Because there's something in the background in particular which gets me even more excited.
Interesting. Okay.
It deals with the big cameo character.
Really? In that scene?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, in that scene. It's very small, it's very missable, but it made me go, oh my god.
All I know is...
Oh my god.
Disney, if you watch this, that big cameo character that everyone's talking about, they need their own movie.
They do.
And you better get the same actor, too.
Yes, please. Yes.
They deserve it. Because, man, they blew everyone away.
Yeah.
that's about all we're going to say about Deadpool and Wolverine, because that's all we can talk about. If we were able to get into spoilers, oh boy,
Oh,
we could
man.
probably have an entire
Episode.
hour-long episode.
Oh my god, we definitely would. We definitely would.
Oh. Go see it.
Go see it, please. Support your theaters and support
Yes.
things that you love, because you will love this movie. No doubt about
Movie
it.
theaters are beautiful. So that'll wrap up what we're going to talk about with Deadpool and Wolverine, because we wish we could talk about more, but we can't. So, Shadow of the Erd Tree for Elden Ring. It's first expansion. I don't know if they're doing any more expansions. I've seen things saying that Miyazaki says they're not, and I've seen things that says Miyazaki says, yeah, just not right now.
But to be honest, Miyazaki's not very well trusted when it comes to these things. I mean, he said that
No.
Shadow of the Erd Tree was going to be as big as Limgrave.
It is
And
not.
it's definitely not.
It is not, in fact, the size of Limgrave.
Well, he said at least the size, so I guess he's right.
Yeah. So, speaking of the size of the map, we're going to talk about the size of the map.
Yes.
It's huge. It is ginormous.
It is an expansion. It's not a DLC.
It is
There-
truly an expansion.
Yeah.
I do have some problems with the size of the map, though, and that is that, like normal Elden Ring, sadly, a lot of the areas are very empty.
Yes.
Such as, for example, the Cerulean Coast. There's nothing there. I think there's a mausoleum, a dragon boss, and a demi-human boss. And
Really? I didn't know about that one.
yeah, you get the Starline sword.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right, yeah. And that's probably the prettiest area they've made, in my opinion.
Oh, it's so pretty.
Yeah.
The red flower area is also really pretty too.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's like Caius Gray. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of the problems is there are areas like Cerulean Coast that have very little to nothing. The worst one is the Abyssal Woods. The only thing in the Abyssal Woods is honestly, I think, Mitra's place,
And that's completely optional, isn't it?
which is
Yeah, it is completely optional.
Which
It
is
is completely optional, yes.
so sad because the concept of the Abyssal Woods is honestly really cool. I know there are people out there that are upset with it because it might come off as a little too hard for them.
Are we able to talk about spoilers?
Oh yeah. We can talk
Okay,
about
cool.
spoilers for
Okay,
this.
cool.
No problem.
I'm perfectly fine with this. Okay.
Which is why I'm saying Mitra's place, Abyssal Woods.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, gotcha.
What did you think about what they did with Abyssal Woods?
I personally liked it. I think it makes the Abyssal Woods a lot more memorable, because if they were just to copy and paste enemies here and there, killable enemies, there would be nothing to it. There would be absolutely nothing to it, and I'm actually happy they made an enemy in the game that is an actual threat.
Oh yeah.
It is an actual threat. I can't remember the names of what they're called.
I don't know, but don't get us wrong. There are clearly enemies that are threats. Divine Beast Warriors.
Yeah, Divine Beast Warriors. They're pretty
And
difficult.
near Arlene, they're the worst.
Yeah.
But with these, I mean, there's a special way you have to kill them. And I think that's absolutely amazing. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's never been done in a FromSoft game before.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Especially in the way that it's done. I mean, it goes back to like, parry, then riposte.
Kind of back to their roots. Because
Kind of-
Dark Souls 1, if you can nail parrying down Dark Souls 1,
Mhm.
you beat the entire game.
Yeah.
Like it's nothing.
Yeah.
But back to what I was saying previously, there's nothing in Abyssal Woods except the Legacy Dungeon, and the Legacy Dungeon is super small. And even worse is if you look on the map, whenever you're at the end of the Legacy Dungeon, there's an entire area south of you in the Abyssal Woods that's just not used.
Yes. I'm happy you brought that up, because that was going to be one of the things I brought up. And I think there's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that, because
I wish there was a cave, at least a cave,
that just led down there or
Just-
something like that.
not even let down there, just like a catacombs type thing, or even a mausoleum could have been down there
Yeah.
to fight one of the mausoleum bosses.
Yeah. But that was my big problem with the main game, is that there's just a lot of open lands and nothing to really do in them other than to just move. I really hate the term walking simulator. I hate
You have
that
a
term.
horse.
You do have a horse, but too bad if you're in co-op you don't.
No, we'll get into co-op later because
Yeah.
I know that there's a community out there that thinks co-op is the worst crime on the earth.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
But speaking of the horse, I hate him.
Yeah, it's something we haven't liked since the normal game and everything like that.
I hate Torrent. I hate his controls. He is so dumb at times. Now, I know what I'm saying. This is the whole player blaming the controller thing.
Yeah.
But this stupid horse likes to just turn and do random movements.
I will say though, the one
I don't like it.
I don't mind the control of Torrent. The one thing I don't like about Torrent is if you just click B or circle, it just dashes forward.
He goes.
He goes for it, man. But my biggest problem with Torrent, especially in the DLC, don't recall ever having a problem with it in the base game, but in the DLC, Torrent just dies in one hit to everything, to absolutely everything. If there was a way to
And
increase
stun locks. You get stun
Yes,
locked by
yeah.
everything.
Yeah, you get, if he doesn't die in one hit, you get stun locked. Yeah, but if there was a way to increase Torrent's health, I think that would make it much better. Or Torrent's health actually increasing a significant amount as you level up. Would be cool.
Maybe it should go up with the shadow tree fragments. The skidoo tree fragments.
Yeah, as we have been calling them, the skidoo tree, because
that's what everyone's been calling them, and then they learn that that's Old English for shadow.
yeah,
So it's taking a bit. I think FromSoft just wanted to be goofy.
I think they did too. Well, maybe I have no idea. They can be some goofy guys sometimes.
Now, another part of the map that I felt was severely underutilized, and I think this might be the most severely underutilized areas, are the finger areas.
I agree.
Literally nothing there except
It's for a quest line.
horn that you blow into for a quest line. I think it would have been perfectly fine if at those horns there would have been a boss.
A mini boss of sorts. Yeah, I think so too. Because like all the little worm things
Are annoying.
they're
Terrible.
It's not that they're just annoying. If there weren't so many,
Oh, there's a lot.
I think it would be fine.
And I can't stand that that tracking, homing.
Thing that just holds you.
Ugh.
It's the hold spell.
Terrible.
Terrible. I
The
agree.
tracking on that is damn
It
good.
needs to be nerfed.
Yeah, it does.
Either that or
Perfect.
we need to get it. Us,
Yeah.
the player, needs it. There's a lot of spells that are actually used in the game.
We'll get into
Yeah.
spells, we'll get
Yeah.
into weapons, but
Yeah.
right now
We're talking about mapping.
Yeah, this
The
finger
map.
area is severely underutilized.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they should have had bosses at the horns, for sure.
I will-
Kind of like what they did for the last horn. The
Yeah.
Mother of Fingers.
Mm-hmm. I will say one thing is the talismans that you get for blowing into the horns. I mean, you remember what they
You
make
gain more Estus from drinking.
yeah, or Estus, whatever it's called now. But yeah,
Do you have a problem with that?
I think that's not as rewarding personally.
I'm going to tell you why people think it's rewarding.
Okay, I'm kind of curious.
Because now we have a lot of these helmets that give you a bunch of special things, but they lower the amount of Estus you can use.
Ooh, okay.
So now you have that you can put on while wearing these helmets,
Okay.
and it makes up for it.
That makes
As a
me a
matter of
little
fact,
more
I think
happier,
you
actually.
still gain more Estus with that talisman on. But yeah,
Okay, that makes it at least somewhat better.
yeah.
Because I really didn't care for those.
But that's also filling up 2 talisman slots,
yes,
which is
yeah.
terrible.
I also think that we should have gotten another talisman pouch because there's just an empty slot there in the inventory screen.
I would say yes to this, but I thought about it.
Okay.
The amount of metas and broken builds people can do with the talisman slots that we have now would be insane if we had one more talisman slot.
That's a valid point, I guess.
Absolutely insane. Now, we should have more memory stone slots.
Yeah. More than 10?
We should have more, yes.
But you can only hold 10 items. like in quick select, like quick items, meaning.
Yeah,
Why should you be
that's
able
not
to?
with spells though. That's
I
different.
I get that, but that's like the balance.
Yeah, but with the sheer amount of spells that we got,
Yeah.
we should have had at least I'm not talking a crazy amount of memory slots.
Yeah.
2, maybe 3.
We need to be talking about the map.
Yes, here we go on tangents.
Yeah, we'll get back to equipment and stuff like that. My bad. I think I'm.
So yes, that's what I think about the finger areas. Now, I will say, the areas that do actually have stuff are actually filled pretty well.
Yes. Yeah.
The beginning area, you obviously start off in a field, and
Gravesite
there's actually quite a bit to do in that first area.
Yes, there actually is, because there's a whole bunch of nighttime events that are there that I've learned about now.
Are there?
There's a couple of
I know
them.
that there's larval tears.
Yeah, which that's one of the things that I rarely ever remember like committing to, nighttime events and everything like that,
Yeah.
because I think of Elden Ring as a chore. Sadly, I loved Dark Souls. Well, I don't like the first Dark Souls. I love Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne. Sekiro's the best, but Elden Ring for me just felt like a chore overall. Very grindy. That's what kind of hurts me on.
Also another problem. We'll get into the grindiness.
Yes. Yeah. My
of
bad.
the DLC.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we go off on tangents, but the first area you start off with, there's actually a lot to do. There's a lot to pick up, a lot to see, and then you get to your first legacy dungeon with the ending boss being the Divine Beast Dancing Lion. Fantastic first boss.
Yes.
I say first major boss because we found in our second playthrough of Shadow of the Earth Tree, you can skip a lot of these bosses.
Oh yeah. We figured that out. There's one boss in particular, Relina, which playthrough 3, Relina is almost impossible.
We made a mistake of starting this DLC on playthrough 3.
Don't do it. Don't.
We don't claim to be the best players out there, but don't do it. It sucks.
How many tries did it take you to defeat Relina?
On playthrough 3?
On your playthrough 3.
I think 3 or 4.
For me, it took about 160 times. I lost so much of the finger remedies because I was summoning my brother in and other people to help to the best of my ability, because the summoning system is kind of garbage, sadly, in the Souls games.
Yeah, it is.
But yes, about 160 times. Now, I don't think I'm counting any of the times that I just tried soloing her with my Mimic tier or anything like that. But yeah, that boss made me like not want to play.
It sapped your soul.
It sapped my soul. It was terrible. But after that, it was smooth sailings for the most part.
Yeah, because after the Divine Beast Dancing Lion, if you do choose to not skip any of these bosses, the next legacy dungeon would be Rolana's.
Yes.
Which, that one was okay. It's not too big.
Mm-hmm.
It's nowhere near as big as the Divine Beast Dancing Lions. I say this because I can't remember the name of the castle. Bellerat.
Is that it?
Bellerat.
Okay.
Bellerat is the name of that legacy dungeon. It's the name of the town. And then after Rolana, you're introduced to the new portion of the map. Which, again, there's a lot to do in this portion of the map.
That portion there is a lot. There's like 5 different directions you can go.
Yeah.
And that's counting the main direction and everything like that.
Here's what I'm going to say is whenever it comes to the terms of the map and what there is to do on the map, they've only really filled up the areas you're supposed to go through.
Yeah.
Which I don't want to say is lazy, because I love FromSoft, but there should have been more in these optional areas.
Yeah, FromSoft doesn't really, because we have like a background of kind of completionists.
Yes.
Because we will only do that with games that we truly love.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've only beaten Dark Souls 3 like 50 times.
Yeah, yeah. And for like Resident Evil 7 for me,
Yeah.
I
yeah.
I was a speedrunner of that game. I think I got to the 14th slot, but at that point I was hitting a wall. I couldn't get better than 2 seconds. 2 whole seconds. I couldn't get any better, and I was just like, you know what? I'm fine at this spot. I'm perfectly fine with that. But I know the ins and outs of that game a little too much. But yeah.
And then another instance of underutilized area is the spot after Commander Gaius, everyone's favorite boss. There's this giant, tall tower,
Yeah.
and it's just a prop. You can't do anything with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should have been an optional dungeon.
Yeah.
Now, you get 5 Shadow Tree fragments there,
Yeah, yeah. You
which
do get
is
5.
that's cool.
That's cool, yeah.
But this giant, ow,
that's a design flaw.
it is. So, this giant, tall, rectangular building, we're keeping it in.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it in. Screw it.
This tall building is really cool to look at when you're coming up on it. You think you're going to get something special, but you don't get nothing. Except 5 Shadow Tree fragments, which is pretty nice.
Yeah, there's one area, it's at the very end, I want to talk about, because I'm not a fan.
Which area?
The final boss arena. We'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, we'll get
But
to the bosses later.
Yeah, just remind
Don't
me.
worry about that.
Well, this involves like map design and everything like that.
Oh! I know exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're
Yeah,
gonna
because
say.
I'm actually very upset because we'll get to it. We'll get to it.
So we'll tie that in with what we're going to talk about now, which is the difficulty of the expansion. We went in at playthrough 3.
Dummies. We're straight dummies.
Really dumb.
Really dumb.
Because it was just funny because I saw all these posts about people like, don't go in with your level 400 characters.
Yeah.
Start a new game. Be cool. We should have listened to those people.
Yeah. We're like, dude. Because we had really cool characters. My character,
Yeah.
is will it have to be censored if I say it? It's not censored in the game.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're fine.
My character was Badass Santa. He was a he used frost and everything like that, and he dual wielded whips.
Blood and frost.
Blood and frost whips. And he would just drain people's health because they would bleed, then freeze,
Oh yeah, it's
and
great.
then repeat. He was awesome, and he actually went through quite a bit of that DLC. But as soon as like I said previously, I hit Laloma, that was my wall.
Yeah,
That was
terrible.
a wall that I had to climb. But yeah, he was really cool. Your character,
Changes a lot.
Yeah, your character changes a lot. I usually don't try to change my character.
I like variety. I like testing out as many things as I can, as many builds as I can. I love it. It's one thing I love about FromSoft games is the diversity.
Mm-hmm.
Excluding Sekiro.
Eh. That's not an RPG.
Yeah, it's not an RPG.
And I want to and I actually want to talk about at some point how the RPG elements of Elden Ring and everything like that. I'll get to that soon.
So when it comes to the difficulty of this DLC, you gonna want some Shadow Tree fragments.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't, you're gonna have a very, very, very tough time dealing with everything.
I can't wait to see like people doing like no Shadow Tree fragment run, no hit run.
I'm not going to believe them. I'm gonna think they're gonna have a trainer or a cheat table, something. I don't, especially with the last boss, I don't see how it's possible to dodge every single move.
I think it is very possible, dude. People beat Sekiro with bananas.
I know. Or bunny rabbits.
Or bunny rabbits. That's the coolest one. Or Dance Dance Revolution game pads. They're not cheating. They're not cheating. They're just much more skilled than we are.
Jealous.
They're much more skilled than we are. I don't even know how to begin hooking those type of things up.
And we never will.
No, never will. I
don't want to.
I mean, I don't want to play a game with bananas, personally.
No.
Bananas.
No, that's boring.
That's boring, but you're in the history books, bro.
I know. I'm just jealous. I wish I could.
Yeah.
So, the difficulty jumps in this, I will say, I think are much better than the difficulty jumps in the base game.
Oh yeah, I can definitely agree with you on that.
Like, for example, in the base game, going from Lanedale to the Giant's mountaintops.
Yeah.
Like the fire giant, that is such a huge difficulty jump when the game first
Yeah.
came out. It was terrible.
Yeah, because we got the game like day one and everything, and I remember like the game was an absolute breeze. I didn't find it really difficult at all. I was doing all the dungeons, all the catacombs.
Yep.
I was doing absolutely everything I could. But then I hit the fire giant, and then I was just stuck for a little bit because like I was just like, I don't see what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
I don't see what I'm doing wrong. It's just I die either in one hit or into one hit, and I have a very small sliver of health left. And then he dodge rolls. That's I think the only boss in the Souls series that dodge rolls, other than like yourself, which is so funny. I love that about him.
And I'm going to say it. Malekith is way worse than Melania.
Oh my God, yes.
I've never had a problem with Melania, but something about Malekith. I suck butts.
Yes.
It's terrible.
Yeah, Malekith's the Beast Clergyman part of him is pretty easy overall. But then he becomes Malekith.
Yeah, and then it's terrible.
Yeah.
And I die so much.
And it makes me even laugh more whenever you see like, oh, this is Malekith's true form mod, and he's just swinging everything at you. It's the lore accurate Malekith mod. That's what it's called. It's like some of the coolest looking things ever, but I'm just like, yeah, I'm not gonna want to try that at all. I don't think that looks fun. I don't think it looks fun.
So, I will say the biggest difficulty jump in this expansion is the last boss.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it is such a cool boss. He just does way too much. Way too much. It's promised consort Radon. You know, Radon is brought back. And let me clear this up because some people have no clue what they're talking about with this. This is not Prime Radon.
No.
This is Moog with the soul of Radon.
Yeah, Moog's body.
Not Prime Radon.
Yeah.
You want to talk about what's wrong with the arena?
The Divine Gates?
Yeah.
And how you as soon as you defeat the boss and everything like that, you get a good little cutscene and everything like that, and the Divine Gates are right there, ready for you. And you can't do anything with them.
Yep. Nothing.
If you're doing the quest lines in this DLC, which it is very easy to do these quest lines.
Yeah, it is.
I actually really like that about this DLC.
Much easier than actual Elden Ring.
Yes, because that's kind of like the thing of like I kind of wish there was like a waypoint for quests, some quests at least. But with this DLC, I don't think you really need it.
Here's what I know. Funny enough, you've never found Jarburg.
What? Who's that?
You don't know what Jarburg is?
No, it's a cool name.
Dude, Jarburg is a town filled with living jars.
What?
Yeah, Alexander's, I believe, nephew is there. You do a quest for him. Yeah.
Are you
didn't
kidding?
know this, did you?
No.
Yeah, it's like the best farming spot for rare materials, too.
Really?
Oh, yeah, they have a farm.
Huh.
Yeah, you didn't know this?
No, I had no
That's how
idea.
you get the talisman for throwing pots.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
Once again, I do think the game kind of needs somewhat of a waypoint system.
And, listen, we've played Dark Souls games. There's no sense of direction. You got to figure out everything yourself. But in Elden Ring, there are things that literally give you waypoints to go to for certain things. It's like, why would you not do that for some of these quests?
Yeah. But also, when it comes to like Dark Souls 3, Bloodborne, and all that, the quest lines on those are very easy to do because they're track games.
Yeah. Yes,
they're track
they're
games with like a few forks to go, a few paths to go, and everything like that. But there's always a main path. I will say the hardest of the Dark Souls games, the two complete quests, would be the first one.
Yeah.
But for me, I think it's just because it's Dark Souls 1.
A lot of problems with Dark Souls 1.
Yeah, you can't...
It's the easiest Dark Souls, okay? It's the easiest Dark Souls. I know there's people out there that are going to say, oh,
Dark Souls theorists.
You think Elden Ring's hard? Try the first Dark Souls. The only reason the first Dark Souls is so hard is because of the god-awful movement system.
They made the game inconvenient for the player.
Yeah. And
like fighting in hallways. You're always just ka-ching, ka-ching, you're just bouncing off of walls and everything. Yet enemies can't do that. That's one of the biggest problems with the first game that I'm just hugely not a fan of.
But
I don't get I do get the appeal because it ended up becoming one of the best game series.
100%.
Ever.
And for sure, the biggest genre-defining game series ever.
Yes, I would probably say since...
Aside from some of the greats, like Mario or
I would say the biggest one, I think, would be the invention of the stealth action genre, which Hideo Kojima did. Yeah. That's I think the biggest one because nobody thought of stealth,
which is
sneaking and stuff like that, which is very funny until he made a game where it would run too fast to the point where nobody could really play it. So he's like, oh, let's just make it sneaky.
Yeah, just make it sneaky.
Just make it sneaky.
But back to Promised Consort Radon.
Yes.
His first phase isn't too crazy, but there's a problem with it. If you have any summons, anybody summoning to help you, or any NPC summons, like Ansbach or Tholier, as soon as you go through the fog gate, he will do his missile shot and land on you, and anyone that decides to go through the fog gate, and as a matter of fact, people who are just standing outside the fog gate get hit by it.
Yes.
And it will one-shot people.
Yeah, it was really funny because
that is a flaw.
Yeah, on my character that we were going through the DLC with on playthrough 3, it got to a point where just like I didn't beat Radon with my Santa Claus character.
We got all the way to the end boss on our New Game Plus 3, and we're like, you know what? Let's create new characters.
Yes, let's create new characters.
And it was a breeze.
Oh my god, yeah. It was so much faster paced and everything like that.
Yep.
But it was really funny because we do something kind of forbidden sometimes where we'll trade items and everything like that to help our specific builds and everything like that.
Listen,
but
I work, I have a job, I have a wife, I have things to do, other games to play. I'm not gonna go through a damn game
torture
multiple times just to get items.
Yes.
You're a fool if you think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm coming for you, Elden Ring community. We're gonna have some words here later.
But we were doing that, and I looked and we were talking through our party and whatnot, and I was like, hey, let's just try Radon real quick. Let's just try it real quick. And I walk into the arena, and he does a spinning move where he hits the ground and gravity spikes pop up. I fat finger. And I click the X button instead of the circle button, and my guy doesn't roll, and he just one hits me, and I'm just like, well, that's our try. That's our try. But yeah.
So, like I said, first phase not too bad. He has a few combo hits that, for some reason, I just cannot dodge roll out of at times, and that's another little thing I have a problem with. I've noticed, and I think you have too, and I've seen other people talk about it, but in the expansion there are times where putting an input on the controller does not work. I have clicked circle many times, and he does not dodge roll. And that's not just on bosses, that's out in the world of the Shadow of the Erdtree. I don't know why. I don't know if it's been fixed recently, But that's something that I've noticed.
It's something of input lag.
Yes.
And we played this on PS5. Just to be completely clear, we played this on PlayStation
Circle.
5. It would be Circle for us and everything like that. And I don't know, because like, I don't think Xbox does it or anything like that, but PlayStation does have like controller software updates.
Yes, it does.
And I don't know if it deals with that or not, or if it's just the game.
I don't know. It's very, very weird.
Yeah, I can't explain it.
Because I'll go back to base game Elden Ring, and I don't have that problem anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere at all.
Yeah.
So, back to Radon. Second phase is terrible. I feel like so much. He does way too much. Way too much.
Especially because a lot of people are because there's a very funny glitch. Where they're getting like they're fighting 3 different Radons.
Yeah.
Because of because there's one attack move that Stage 2 Radon does where he sends like echoes of himself at you to attack. And that right there is what I think causes an additional Radon to just spawn.
See, yeah, I think it does too. I don't know why it does it, but it's pretty freaking hilarious to come across these videos of these people dealing with it. Never dealt with it ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's hilarious.
If I would have dealt with it, dude, I would have been so livid. I would have been so livid.
That would have been a take a break for the day.
Oh my god. Especially because it's just like, what am I supposed to do against this?
Nothing.
It's 3 Radons. And they're all phase 2. They're all sending echoes at each other, at the people. Because, and once again, we summon people. And we summoned NPCs for their quest lines and everything like that.
Yeah.
And
Let's talk about that grab move. Never in 100 years did I ever think FromSoft would put something in that turns us into a simp for a femboy.
Oh my god, yeah.
But they did.
You do know...
it's hilarious.
Yeah, you know the... Mikola's broken rune?
Yeah, you use it and it gets rid of the symbol above your head.
Yeah, it gets rid of the symbol above your head. I learned that after the fact. He never landed a grab on me. And I'm trying
You never got turned into a simp.
I never did because I'm that damn cool. One of the things...
Some would argue otherwise.
I'm trying to remember the guy because it was me, you, and a guy we summoned. That when we beat Radon, and it was a goofy guy name. It was a goofy name.
Oh yeah.
He was like a big burly guy. He was doing a poke build.
Poke build.
Because it was a Scarlet Rot poke build, which
people are having
anything to kill a boss, if you ask me. Especially if you're stuck on a boss for days.
Especially if you're wanting to review an expansion.
Yes. Yeah. It got to a point for me where I was just like, dude, I don't know if this was also before I did a new game and everything like that, where I was just like, this is ridiculous. I'm going to be angry if I have to film this review and not have the game complete, because then my opinion's not going to be fully valid, really.
Yep. Yeah.
That was one of my biggest problems.
You won't have the full experience.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt good when you did.
Oh yeah.
You're like, finally, I can stop playing this game.
Yes, that is exactly what I said. And I think Promise Consort Radon, I think it took us 3 tries on our new game.
Yours, yeah.
On our new,
I think mine was 4 or 5.
Yeah, something like that.
The difficulty, if you're in new game, just straight up new game, and you're a decent player at Souls games, the difficulty is not so bad. If you go in at new game +3, it's bad. It's terrible.
Not a good idea. It's I think Kai Sinat's, one of his housemates, was on New Game +7.
Oh man.
And he couldn't even get and he defeated Divine Beast. Dancing Divine Beast. And I'm just like, oh my god, how? How? and he was stuck on Relina. And that is hilarious. I think that's absolutely funny because seeing the entire reaction of kind of just like, oh, that's why it's so difficult for you. You just kept restarting. But yeah, go ahead.
You know, before we get off Radon, Promise Consort Radon, you had a thought that they should have put in. because it's Moog's body, it would have been really cool as a little secret for people to find, for them to be able to use Moog's shackle.
Oh my God, yes. Because I remember I was like, maybe Moog's shackle works, and I used Moog's shackle and I just die instantly.
Now,
and I was like, oh, it didn't work. Oh, okay.
I don't know if it would work, because of lore implications, or because it's technically not Moog because the soul of Radon is in him. But
yeah,
it would have been a fun thing to find out.
It's Moog's body, and it's a shackle.
Yeah,
a shackle.
It binds your body.
It binds the body, and it's just like because I remember being like, because we were grasping at straws fighting him on New Game Plus 3.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I have Moog's shackle here. Let's go into the arena. I'ma test it. And
I thought it was a damn good idea.
Because that seems like something like something like
they would have put in.
They would have put in, yeah. Because like FromSoft thinks kind of that deeply about things, and that just made me go, oh.
Oh.
It was so upsetting.
And since we're getting off the topic of bosses, let's talk about what I think is a huge problem, and that is the fact that nothing in this expansion, and I mean nothing, gives you an appropriate amount of runes.
I was about to ask if you were going to talk about the rune gain.
It's terrible. I think Promised Consort Radon does 500k.
But Moog does more.
Yeah, I believe Moog does more.
Moog gives you more souls than the final boss
of
the DLC.
That's a problem.
Yes.
And it's a very, very big problem. Now, I assume they probably didn't want to, come up with, they didn't want to make the mistake of having another farming location, like with the Albinarics at Mogwin's Palace. But who cares? Either that or take away a farming location. Fix it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The rune gain in the DLC is dog water.
It's not good. But
not good at all.
But the Skidoo tree fragments fix that. Because I remember going through that DLC and just being like, I don't think I'm ever going to level up.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm ever going to level up. But what helped me more than leveling up was the Skidoo tree fragments. Yeah. And that's kind of like a really good balance that they had and everything like that. I got a light splash going through me. But that's a really good balance that they have, which made me actually appreciate it a little more.
And it was honestly, I think the Shadow Tree fragments were an amazing idea. Mm-hmm. Because there were going to be people that come in with their fully leveled up character.
Yes, yeah, that's like something they're like,
They found a way for people who put everything into everything to struggle.
Yes,
and congrats to FromSoft for doing that.
Because I personally don't know, and I haven't even seen a person actually have a full 99 stat build. But I imagine that those people would struggle throughout that entire DLC without those fragments.
I've only seen it on groups, people posting it, but even then, it's just
you never know.
How do you do that?
They just have no life, David. They have no life.
I think you need 1.7 billion runes in order to get to fully level.
What?
Yeah, and you can't even get that many on your thing. It stops at 999,999,999.
Yeah.
You need 1.6 billion.
That's the reason why I paused. I was like, really? Because you can't even hold that much.
Nope.
That's ridiculous.
Which, I know that there are businesses that you can spend money on and they'll drop you runes and stuff like that.
There's a WWE fighter that has a guy, that hires a guy to achievement hunt for his Elden Ring. I can't remember the fighter's name. But he talked about it. He said, I'm sorry. And I agree with him. He's like, I'm sorry, man. I have a crazy job.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of time to farm. But I also don't want to struggle.
Yep.
I have the money and I have the resources. I think I think it's Cody Rhodes. I could be wrong.
You think it could be Cody?
I think it could be Cody Rhodes. Don't quote me on it. But because he's a big lover of Elden Ring. And everything like that, but he's also straight up just like, I don't have all this. I don't have a lot of time to do this, especially because he's like a big superstar right now in WWE. Yeah. He's everywhere now.
So that's what we're going to talk about with bosses. there are things that need fixed, things that... Actually, real quick, Golden Hippopotamus is just the worst. He's a dumpster fire boss. He's the worst.
Understand it. He was so easy on New Game Plus 3, but on my new game, we were just stuck on him for like a day. We didn't understand it at all.
Yep.
Oh my god. There's another boss.
He's terrible. That arena's too small.
Yeah,
I think that was the point.
We didn't really talk about Commander Gaius. I think we need to. Because
Everyone's favorite boss.
if you ask me, Commander Gaius, you should be able to lock onto his boar.
Same with Bale. You should be
Same
able to
with
lock
Bale.
on Bale's body.
Yeah, because you can only
Ridiculous.
lock onto one portion of their body. And like, for instance, with Bale, you can only lock onto his head, which is literally the smallest portion thing on his body. And it's the same when it goes to Commander Gaius.
Yep.
I can't think of Commander Gaius the same after the baby naming memes that go all over TikTok. The Commander Gaius pictures. It's a baby or insane. It keeps invading my mind every single time I say his name. But with Commander Gaius, I think he's a really cool boss.
Yes.
I think he's an awesome boss, especially when you like see his lore implications. Like he was like the rival of Radon and everything, and that he is an albinaric.
Yep.
So he can't walk very well.
That's
the reason why he has his boar. That is awesome.
Yep.
That is so cool.
Lore. And
I like that.
And he has an almost undodgeable move. And we all
It
know
is
which
boar-
one that is, and that's the boar charge.
The boar charge, yeah. I have a lot of problems with it. That's the reason why I like Sekiro so much. You don't have to dodge. You know what you can just do? Ching!
Yeah.
That's so cool. Yeah, you just got
Yeah.
you gotta go hard in it. You gotta
Some
go
people
hard in
would
the
say
paint.
that makes it where you require no skill.
I beg to differ.
I agree.
I beg to differ. I beat that game and I love that game.
Alright.
That is one of my favorite games of all time.
So, now that we're done with bosses,
Yes.
we're going to get into what I think is probably going to be the last thing we talk about, because there's not really much more, and that's equipment such as weapons and spells and armors that are added in.
Yeah.
One
There's a lot.
One awesome thing they did, which I talked about earlier, is they now have armors that have special effects on them, which I know some of them did in the base game, but nothing like this.
Yeah.
Like, some of the helmets will give you +4 strength, +4 dex,
Yes.
but it takes away Estus gain.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. I like how they're starting to get more into armors with special effects. That's about all we can say about the armors.
Yeah.
There's nothing really much else.
Yeah, I mean they're cool looking. They're very nice. They're very pretty.
Yep.
But that's one of the things I wanted to hit on because it kind of relates with the equipment and everything like that.
Yeah.
People calling Elden Ring an RPG, I think this DLC helped with it.
Yeah.
Specifically because there's gear like armor and stuff like that which helps your stats.
Yeah.
I actually like that.
Which is great.
Because that actually helps with it being an RPG because there's not a role you're playing
Yeah, it's
in Elden Ring games. I understand why it's because I
nothing
don't.
really gives to that role.
Yeah.
You could say you're playing a role, but nothing gives to that role.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way of putting it because it's just. I don't know. It feels weird calling it an RPG, but I don't know what else I
Like
would
it's got
call it.
it's got RPG. It's like what is it? Fallout 4, right? It's got RPG aspects, but it is not an RPG.
It is not an
Fallout
RPG,
4
yeah.
has some problems,
Yeah.
boy.
But I've been playing like pretty recent RPGs. I want to get into the new Final Fantasy games and everything like that, especially 7 Rebirth and the new Final Fantasy 7 that came out, everything that. But I've been playing like a Dragon, the one that was in Hawaii, the Yakuza game series. And those games are RPGs.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with that series because of those games. Because like my friend, he said, or they told me, you should try this game. I think you would really like it because I loved Persona 5. And I was like, okay, I'll try it out. And I just fell in love with the enriching world of Yakuza. And I could talk about that
Hey man,
another day.
we're talking about
yeah,
Elden Ring.
yeah, we need to talk about Elden Ring. I'm sorry. I'm very passionate when it
Yeah.
comes to those games now.
So that's all we can say about armors. Weapons, they have, I believe it's 8 new weapon types,
Yes. I
which
think so, yeah.
are great. I think the ones that I would say are on par, they reign supreme, are backhand blades and light greatswords. Those are the best.
I would say the Great Katana should be in that category too.
Well, with the new.
I'm not talking about
Glitch.
with that. I'm not talking about with that dumb glitch. But because those are just really good in general, I think.
Light
personally.
greatswords though are beautiful.
Yeah.
The move sets are fantastic.
Yeah, they
Amazing.
are.
And all the light greatswords that you can get in the game are all good. Every single one of them are good.
Yeah, I do think they nerfed Letta's sword though.
I do too, because last time I got on and tried using it, it was nowhere near as good. Especially the L2.
Yeah,
The L2 was terrible.
Which I don't think it needed nerfed.
No, it did.
I really don't think it needed nerfed.
Maybe have it use more FP.
If anything.
Yeah.
But if anything.
Should not have nerfed the damage on it. And then you have throwing daggers. There's only one throwing dagger, which is really upsetting, and it's not good.
I beg to differ.
It's if you put scattershot on it.
Yeah, if you put scattershot on it, it does really, really good. But I will say, whenever the first big patch came out, they increased the range of the throwing daggers.
Yes.
Because that was one of the biggest problems with those throwing daggers, is that they would always be like a hair away from your boss that you're trying to get with them and everything like
Terrible.
that. Because I remember in the promotional material, and I want to talk about the stuff in the promotional material, which was they showed the throwing daggers, they showed the beast claws and stuff like that. And let me tell you, I was so hyped for the beast claws and like the martial arts and stuff like that they were teasing. And I used them as much as I could. And thinking on it now, I do not like the beast claws.
No, it needs animation canceling.
You cannot cancel any animation.
That's another big problem with Elden Ring is it needs animation canceling for a lot of things.
And one of the biggest problems with the beast claws is you click the normal attack button once, and you straight up attack twice, or sometimes 4 times with the beast claws, and that's only exclusive with the beast claws. I can't think of any other weapon that does that other than like a weapon art, an Ash of War, for instance.
I can't think of any off the top of my head.
But like I mean, there's only 2 beast claws, right?
Yeah, sadly.
Which I get that the 2 beast claws that there are in the game are really good.
They're cool.
Like the red bear claws. I love
especially since they've
the buff on them. Yeah,
buffed them.
Yeah, they buffed them, which makes them really, really good, I imagine.
And then you also have perfume bottles, which we all know. Whenever it came out, perfume bottles were the meta because of one of their Ashes of War, Rolling Sparks. You could do an upwards of 20,000 damage on a boss, particularly the one for the lightning perfume bottle.
Yeah.
I love perfume bottles. And they didn't really nerf it. I know people are saying they nerfed it, but they fixed it.
Yeah, they fixed it because like people used to just look at the ground and spam it because all the explosions would hit the ground.
And now they fixed that because the explosions have to go a certain radius for all of them to go off.
Yeah, which
and they fixed that.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. And I would like to say we didn't use metas like that.
No, not really.
I think you used it once on the Sunflowers boss.
I don't even think I used it on Sunflower. I think I used it on Golden Hippo.
Golden Hippo, yeah, because
weak to lightning.
Yeah, they're weak to lightning, yeah, because it's in a water-based flooring.
And speaking of weak to lightning, faith incantations, like in actual Elden Ring, reign supreme.
Oh my god, yeah.
Faith incantations are just so much better than the sorceries. It's crazy. Like the Knight's lightning spear, I think is what it's called, where you throw a lightning bolt and then 6 more appear. And go, that is a damn good one.
Or Pest Thread Spears.
Pest Thread Spears, damn good.
Really good.
It's amazing. There's
really,
so many
really
amazing
good
spells, which is why I think they should have given us 1 or 2 more memory slots. And another problem I have is that a lot of the spells in this that do a lot of damage do no more than 2 slots filled up. In base game, you have like Scarlet Aeonia or Elden Stars that fills up 3 slots. Scarlet Aeonia, I think
I can understand
no more
that
than
one,
2.
yeah.
No more than 2, especially with Elden Stars. That's just a garbage move.
Yeah, it could have been so good.
And everyone's like, "Oh, it's great for PvP." It's like if someone sees you using Elden Stars in PvP, they're just gonna bum rush you,
Yeah.
and you're gonna get screwed up before the Elden Stars even goes off.
And I would just like to say, I don't like PvP.
No.
I don't like it. It ruins the game because it makes you waste resources.
Yeah, he's not a PvPer.
I'm
I
not.
don't like it.
I like single player more than anything. Or co-op.
Yep.
Co-op's pretty damn cool too. But PvP when it comes to these games is so good. Especially because the netcode is so bad. Because if you just see a guy that has no moving animations, but he's just lagging towards you,
You're dead.
What are you going to do against that?
You're dead.
You can't predict anything he does.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, because their netcode is so terrible when it comes to matchmaking when it like that. And it's just like, oh my god.
And speaking of PvP and co-op, we're going to talk about the community.
Yes.
Specifically me.
Yeah.
I see all these people getting so upset and literally bullying people because they want to use a spirit summon or summon in friends for co-op. And what I gotta say to that is you're being a garbage human being if you're bullying people for using aspects in a game that were given to them to use. It's ridiculous. And I'll argue and say that summoning in someone for co-op arguably can make a boss harder.
Definitely.
They gain so much more health
Mhm.
and do much more damage.
Yeah. Because I think with our first time fighting Bale, we summoned a guy in, it was me and you, and then we realized we can summon Captain Ahab.
Egon?
Egon, my bad. It's a Moby Dick story. It's exactly what it is. But, and
He's even got the harpoons.
he's even got the harpoons, yeah. And he's can't walk right.
Yep.
Because Bale took his leg. Even in the game files, I think his name's Ahab.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
think so.
But
I could be wrong on that. But like with that fight, it made the boss's health significantly more tedious
yes.
to the tear through and everything like that. But I agree. It's an aspect of the game. For instance, Miyazaki specifically made spirit summons for people that want to go through the game single player.
Yeah.
He made those specifically for those
Remember,
people.
Elden Ring was made for newcomers into the Souls series.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't be bullying people because they want to use aspects given to them in the game. Because that's the way you play the game. Don't be that kind of person.
I will also say you are seeing a lot of the negative parts of
Oh
the
no,
community.
there's a lot of great parts of the community.
I will say, I think, and this goes back to
like we had a man invade us and drop us 99 America's ruins.
oh my god, yeah, that was crazy because I was sitting there. We were in the Forbidden
Abyssal
Woods,
Woods.
the Abyssal Woods when that happened, and I was just like, dude, I don't want to deal with this. I have like 3 finger remedies. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. It made me like want to quit the game. But the guy walked up to us. He waved at us, and we're like, okay. So the guy's somewhat honorable at least. He's not going to be like spamming
Yeah, a spell or anything.
a spell or a meta.
And then he
or
dropped
anything
an
like that.
item.
And then he dropped an item, and I said, I said, Damon, I'll grab this. And I went up and grabbed it, and it was 99 America's runes, and I'm like, oh, okay.
And then he dropped me 80
Champion runes?
Heroes runes.
Heroes runes, that's what they're called. Champions, that's in Dark Souls. But and then he waved goodbye, and then he slashed his way out of our realm. And we're just like, you know
So, yeah,
what?
There are great aspects of the community. There are great people in the community that do
Yeah.
stuff like that. That's fun.
Mhm.
But then there's people who bully people.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely terrible and ridiculous.
I do think with, like I said, this is what I was going to say earlier, Kai Cenat playing Elden Ring, I think, is the best thing that could have happened to the Elden Ring community because it is introducing a lot of people.
A lot of people in...
A lot of very welcoming people,
Yeah,
I would say. Like,
'cause
very
Kai's a great
good
guy.
people, yeah.
He's very warming. He's a very warming personality.
Yeah, and
He doesn't like bullies.
He does not like
or
bullies.
people being rude.
Mm-hmm. And I've never had so much fun like finding clips of somebody playing Elden Ring.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. He's definitely had the best clip.
Yes, I agree with that. And I mean, he's a content creator. It's kind of what he needs to do.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of accusations of him overacting, but I think every content creator, when it comes to that, overreacts.
We're entertainers.
Yes, they're entertainers. That's the point of them. and everything that they're meant to entertain a certain specific demographic of people.
Yep. But I think that'll conclude our review on Shadow of the Erd Tree.
Yes. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Great expansion. It did a lot. It was actually fun. Gave
It's
us a
fun
lot
for
of
quite
stuff
a bit,
to work
yeah.
with.
Yeah.
I'll give it 4 out of 5. I know you're giving it lower.
I think I'm giving it a 3 out of 5 because I don't find that replayable whatsoever.
Yeah, you don't like Souls games like I do.
Well, I love Souls games. It's just that game is not replayable.
No,
I even think base Elden Ring isn't replayable.
People would argue.
Oh man. Oh man. Argue. They can argue all they want. I don't care. It's my opinion, and that's what I like.
So, with that concluding, what do you think about next? Us reviewing Trapped and Alien Romulus, I believe.
You want to do the Borderlands movie? I think
we'll
that's
be
going to be a
doing
big
Borderlands.
one.
We'll be doing
That's going to
Borderlands.
be a big one.
We'll be
We're
doing
big
Borderlands.
fans of the video games.
So we're hoping the movie is good. I know there's a lot of people upset with the casting.
I'm a little upset with some of the casting.
I'm
casting.
gonna try and push through it because it could be a fun movie.
Yeah, it could be a fun movie.
I don't think it's necessarily going to be a good movie, like story-wise per se. But that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, the first one really wasn't. I will say the second one's story writing kicked it up a notch. Like the second Borderlands with Handsome Jack as a villain, which is something that they're going to be living in the shadow of forever with the Borderlands series, sadly.
No.
But it is what it is. But like, we love those games.
Oh, man,
love those
fantastic.
games. Some of our favorite games.
And I believe from here on out, we are going to be talking about whatever news is going around and going on in the world of geekdom.
Films, TV, comics, video games.
Such as for example, all the stuff that was announced at San Diego Comic-Con, which I'm sure everyone knows, and I'm sure everyone's upset about some things.
I am.
We can go over that. We can go over that at the beginning of our next episode.
Yes, yeah.
So yeah, we will see you next time, everyone.
Yep.
Have a good one.
Yep. See ya.